The Frightened condition is scary good in D&D. It's a powerful effect that does two things. It gives a creature disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while within sight of the thing that they're afraid of, and makes it so a creature can't move any closer to that thing. Let's get straight into a few ways that you can cause the Frightened condition as a player, before turning to how to use it to full effect. There are three basic ways of causing the Frightened condition in 5e as a player: spells, class or subclass features, and racial features. By far the most common source of player-caused fear is spells. 11 spells in D&D 5e cause the Frightened condition, ranging from 1st to 9th level, and every spellcaster except artificers and rangers has access to spells that cause it. Funnily enough, 4 of the 11 spells that cause the Frightened condition are illusion spells. Only 3 are necromancy spells. I guess card tricks are spookier than zombies. If you're trying to build a fear-based character, the wizard class is your best bet. They have access to 10 of the 11 spells in the game that cause fear. On the flip side, 9 spells protect against the Frightened condition in some way, with 3 spells ending it outright. The other common way to frighten your foes in 5e is with subclass features. 12 of the subclasses featured in D&D can cause the Frightened condition, ranging from 1st to 20th level. 3 paladin subclasses, 2 sorcerers, and 1 barbarian, bard, fighter, and warlock each can cause the Frightened condition. Any warlock of the Pact of the Chain with a quasit can also cause it. And finally, there are a few racial features that can cause the Frightened condition. There are only a few of these, but if you're going all in on a fear-based character build, you want to be a Dragonborn with a Dragon Fear racial feat, a Fallen Aasimar, or an Eladrin Elf. Alright, so that's the very quick rundown of how the Frightened condition works and how to cause it. Now let's get into a few ways to make it a part of your party's tactics. Tip number 1 is to be aware of line of sight. A frightened creature can nullify the worst part of the effect simply by moving behind a wall. To maintain both the condition and the effect, either use fear-based effects when your enemies have nowhere to hide, or when you can easily pursue them if they try. On the other hand, sometimes making an enemy move behind a wall is exactly what you want, as it could help protect an ally. Either way, it pays to pay attention to your environment before using a fear spell or feature. My second tip for using the Frightened condition is to take advantage of the ability check disadvantage. Most people are delighted with the attack roll debuff that the Frightened condition applies and look no further. But disadvantage on ability checks can be just as impactful. For example, powerful spells like Dispel Magic and Counterspell can require ability checks, and many illusion spells require investigation checks to see through. Plus, disadvantage on stealth and dexterity checks will make it much easier for your party's grappler to do their thing, or the shield master to shove enemies successfully. On the out-of-combat side of things, a frightened creature will be worse at intelligence, wisdom, and charisma checks as well, which your party can take advantage of in a mental contest. Note that some DMs will rule that using a spell or feature that causes the frightened condition is a hostile act that initiates combat, depending on other circumstances. Another good use of the frightened condition is for controlling the battlefield. Frightened creatures can't move closer to the source of their fear, which you can take advantage of to protect an important item, NPC, or other objective that you don't want enemies approaching. You can also use this offensively to chase away a creature, forcing it to keep fleeing or accept its current position. My next use for Frighten is a simple one, and that's as an offensive debuff. Frightened creatures have disadvantage on their attack rolls. While they may choose not to flee from you, they're going to be a whole lot less threatening while they're scared. As a sub-tip here, I'd like to point out that enemy spellcasters or creatures that rely on saving throw abilities won't suffer nearly as much from the Frightened condition. Use it on melee and range attackers who lack a save DC, if you have this meta-knowledge or experience dealing with the creatures that you're fighting. My final 2 tips are about fear-based character builds rather than tactics, but build tip number 1 is to be a Dragonborn, Conquest, or Vengeance Paladin. The Dragon Fear optional racial feat for Dragonborns from Xanathars gives you a free, once-a-day, 30-foot area of effect fear. Couple that with a Conquest Paladin's Conquering Presence Channel Divinity, which is another 30-foot area fear effect, and you've got a recipe for some serious and consistent battlefield control. As a runner-up, Vengeance Paladins get Abjure Enemy Channel Divinity, which is a 60-foot single-target fear effect that drops your frightened creature speed to 0. Other good runners-up here include the Fey Warlock with a first-level, low-range area effect fear feature, and the College of Whispers Bard with a fun out-of-combat fear effect. My last build tip is to be a class with lots of spells that frighten. If a fear-based paladin isn't your thing, a wizard is probably your next best option. They have access to 10 out of the 11 fear-based spells, barring the paladin exclusive Wrathful Smite, so you'll have an easy time building your character around this concept right from first level. Your next best bet is a warlock. Warlocks have access to 5 spells that cause a frightened condition, ranging from 1st to 9th level. Bards also have access to 5 fear-inducing spells, but they're all 3rd level or higher. Those are just a few ideas on how to use the frightened condition in D&D 5e. Now I'm going to quickly clear up a few rules misconceptions about how the condition works. Rule number 1 is that you cannot close your eyes to negate the frightened condition. Line of sight refers to the ability to draw a line from one corner of a creature's space to the corner of another creature's space, without running into an object or effect that blocks vision. Rule number 2 is that the frightened condition doesn't end when a creature moves out of line of sight. It just doesn't suffer the negative effect of disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. Rule number 3 is that line of sight requires visibility. As the Sage Advice Compendium puts it, if you can't see something, it's not within your line of sight. So if you're frightening a creature, but then you become invisible, the creature no longer suffers disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. Rule number 4 is that a frightened creature can circle the source of its fear. Technically, if you circle something, you're not getting any closer to it. Note that this isn't true for a spell like Fear, which actually forces a creature to use its movement to run away from the source of its fear. And my final rule clarification is that the frightened condition doesn't break a creature's concentration. Only death, incapacitation, casting another concentration spell, or failing a concentration check break concentration. Those are the big rules misconceptions I see come up around the frightened condition often, but let me know if I missed one. I've got one last, possibly useful piece of bonus information for sticking around this long. If you're looking to build a character who is resistant to fear effects, here are all the racial features that can help with that. And here are all the class and subclass features that can help with resisting or ending the frightened condition. Please let me know if I missed any. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you found this guide on the frightened condition helpful and can show your appreciation with a like and subscribe. It's a massive help for small YouTubers like me. If you have any stories about using the frightened condition in your own Dungeons & Dragons game, or questions about the condition's rules, please share them in the comments below. This is D&D Lounge, wishing you the best of luck in your next adventure.